Hello, this is Kate from dailytarotgirl.com, and this is your weekly tarot card reading. And for this week's reading, I'm using the Light Visions Tarot. And before I dive into this week's reading, I just want to let you know that I've just opened enrollment on my upcoming tarot course. This is a 4-week online course. It's called The Daily Tarot Girl's Guide to Reading Tarot for Others, and it focuses on how to give really good tarot readings to other people. And if you're interested in checking that course out, I'll put the link in the description box below this video. Okay, so let's dive into the cards. This first card is going to represent Monday and Tuesday of the upcoming week. Okay, here we have the 10 of Wands. All right. So there's a few interesting things I immediately get from this card. Number one is that whole idea of not being able to see the forest through the trees, like being kind of overwhelmed by everything and sort of trying to focus on certain things in a specific way, but doing that, sort of focusing on things, also robs you of the ability to zoom out and see the big picture and see how everything connects and how everything flows and fits together. So let me sum this card up in a slightly different way. So the 10 of Wands can show up for us when we are feeling overburdened, not necessarily overwhelmed, but just if we have a lot of responsibilities and a lot going on. And it can make us feel like we're being kind of, like there's a lot of pressure on us, like we're stressed out, like we have a lot of stuff on the go, and that we're just kind of spread too thin. And the wisdom of the 10 of Wands is about letting go of some of these responsibilities if you can, and paring down and maybe asking others for help, saying no more often, not taking on more than you really need to take on. And also questioning before you commit to anything this week, before you take on any new responsibilities or projects or tasks, ask yourself, is this going to help me in some way? Is this going to enrich my life, or is it just going to add to the overwhelm and confusion and cause me more stress than I really need? But like I said in the beginning, there's this theme of, it's almost like this week we really want to focus on things to get things done, but that may not be the best thing to do. This is really telling us to not lose sight or not lose our sense of perspective. So it's always important when you're putting your time and your energy into things, whether that's a commitment that you've made or a project you're working on or whatever you're doing, even if it's like a favor you're doing for a friend, it's important that all those things that you do, that you understand kind of what role they play in relation to each other. Or I don't know if that made sense. Let me think of another way to say that. I guess basically what I'm saying is you want to have an overall sense of what you're doing, where you're going, what's important to you, kind of your place in the world, being able to see the big picture and how things fit together. And sometimes focusing on just one or two things at a time can make it so that you're just so focused you have your head kind of in the sand. Okay, so middle of the week, Wednesday and Thursday, we've got 3 of Pentacles. And 3 of Pentacles is a card about working hard and working towards something, but it's also about doing work that has meaning for you and work that really takes advantage of your unique skill set. So this isn't about just working hard or making money or getting things done. This is about channeling your unique abilities and talents and skills into some kind of goal or project that has meaning for you. So what does this mean? You may have an opportunity to do this week, but it's also kind of asking you to ask yourself that question, like, you know, what kind of work or what kind of project would make the best use of my talents, my desires, my skills right now, this week. It doesn't have to be like a big overarching project. It could be just a small project that you work on this week or this month. I feel like there's something else I want to say about this. It feels like this week is a week where you're building up to something. It's like you're working towards some kind of goal, and you're still doing the initial steps. The beginning of the week is about kind of taking on new projects, or maybe just feeling overwhelmed by everything that you need to get done. Three of Pentacles is about actually doing the work and making progress. As we get to the end of the week, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we've got Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is a weird card in a lot of ways. It has to do with deception. And as you can see, the character, well, you probably can't see it because it's not super obvious, but the character who's right here, he's wearing a mask, and it looks like he's sort of tiptoeing through the snow. And you almost get the sense that he's stealing those swords. So there's this element of dishonesty and deception with this card. Now, I often see this card, it comes up when we aren't being totally honest with ourselves, when we're not just trying to deceive others, but ultimately trying to deceive ourselves in some way. We're not being totally upfront with ourselves about something. It can also be about like not being authentic, or even just feeling like we don't deserve something, that we have to take it in a sneaky way, or we have to tiptoe through life. We can't, live our life out loud and be out there and authentic and bold because maybe we're afraid of upsetting people. So those are just a few different ways of kind of looking at this card. And this is the card of the weekend. And it poses a certain challenge to you. And it says, hey, what is it that you are afraid to reveal to others? What is it about yourself, your plans or your goals or your dreams, or what is it about yourself that you're afraid to reveal to other people? And it doesn't mean that you have to go out there and reveal everything, but it's just asking you to ask yourself that question and look at that issue. And it's also asking, what would be different about your life if you were not afraid to show who you were? So if you didn't feel like you had to hide parts of yourself, because we all feel like we have to hide parts of ourselves, but if we weren't afraid of that, if we felt like we really could be ourselves, what would we do differently in our lives? What would be different if we could really just be who we are, completely authentic and uncensored? What would you do differently? Okay, so let's look at all of these cards together. I'm just looking for some repeated themes. And I notice a theme of trees. Trees show up in all of these cards. And I mean, to be fair, I'm just looking through this deck. Well, I mean, there are trees in a lot of the cards, but not all of them. And in the first card, it's like feeling almost a sense of overwhelm, like you're trying to find your way through the woods. There's all these trees and there's swirly things happening, and there's this guy packing a bunch of sticks or branches, and he's trudging through the woods. And so I feel like the beginning of the week is about finding your way. It's about navigating through some of the challenges. It's about finding your way. Three of Pentacles, middle of the week, it's like you find your way in midweek. You get your rhythm, you get your sense of where you're going. So it's like you get a greater sense of understanding about what direction you're taking in the middle of the week. And then by the end of the week, you're posed with this challenge about really getting to know yourself and being honest with yourself, and maybe making some changes in your life to reflect that. Okay, I'm just going to look one more time to see if there's anything else I want to mention. I don't think there is. So I'm going to end it there. But as always, I want to invite you to share your own observations with these cards, because I can only have 10 minutes to look at these cards and come up with something. So there's inevitably stuff that I've missed. So by all means, have a look and see if there's anything that stands out to you with this reading. And feel free to share in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this reading, I do them every single week on my YouTube channel. So subscribe by clicking the red subscribe button. And if you're interested in learning about tarot, you can check out my website, dailytarotgirl.com. Thanks so much for watching and have a wonderful week.